I just swallowed my gum. Welcome to the Fili Daily Vlog for today, Wednesday, April 29th, 2020.
Yep.
Yeah, hope you're doing well. We're obviously in the middle of the COVID-19 epidemic. I guess to start, we'll just kind of do our normal thing here. And
Check out the numbers.
Yep, show you my screen here, and there you go. Okay, so yep, we're past 3 million.
Wow.
212,000 have died.
Man, what's up with that one day where like new cases
That
is
right
like
here?
way up there?
That's
I don't
crazy.
know. I don't know what that's all about. Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, we are 1 million plus now.
Yep, may as well jump down to ours. Yep, 1,053,000 deaths there. Or sorry, 1 million cases, 53,000 deaths.
You can kind of see the waves happening there too. The up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down.
Yeah.
I feel like Kansas is doing the exact same thing.
It's and even at the world level, you can kind of see that, if I recall. Yeah, see, it's got those same waves.
That's so weird.
I know.
Huh.
It's crazy. Jumping into Kansas.
It's a lot more drastic as far as like the variance goes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that does not look like a flattening of the curve at all.
No, not even kind of.
3,587 cases, 127 deaths.
That kind of makes me nervous about trying to open the state back up on the 3rd. That's like, next week.
Yep. In Saline County, 20 cases, 2 deaths.
Did Saline County extend or change their stay-at-home orders?
Not to my knowledge.
I haven't seen any. I was actually talking about that last night with my improv group. They, I think one of the guys who lives in KCMO, they're like, their governor and their mayor are like at odds because, or I guess on opposing sides, because one of them, like I think it's the mayor, wants to kind of keep social distancing and stuff, and it's hard to open stuff back up because we're waiting on those restrictions and or guidelines from Governor Kelly. True. And those haven't been outlined or sent out yet. And
when was Salina's stay-at-home supposed to be over?
I believe it was the 30th of April or the 3rd of May.
It was, I think, originally the 30th of April, and then statewide they extended it to May.
Right. Well, just because the county and the state is different. So, like, even if the state says, yeah, everything can be opened again by the 3rd, and the county goes, nope, we're going to continue doing this, then.
Right.
Although I feel like, especially the county one, is just a joke. I mean.
Yeah, it is. There's no way to enforce that. Not even kind of.
Not really.
It doesn't seem like anybody's really trying. So.
Unfortunately, I mean, I think we've done a pretty decent job of trying to stay away. Like I know,
right?
Anytime you've gone out and Gus, you've been masked and gloved and everything else.
Yep.
So.
Yep.
But
the Fed announced kind of the first quarter of the economy results, and yeah, it's pretty bad. I guess from what they're seeing, it looks like this is the worst recession since the Great Depression, without a doubt. And the I guess 50% of Americans have either lost their job or have reduced hours because of COVID-19. 50%.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
That does not surprise me.
That it's nuts to think about. I don't know about you guys, but I tend to kind of think about like the 1900s as being kind of like there's a weird dichotomy in my brain because it's both not very far away and extremely far away. Like for my personal age group, like if you think about like the Great Depression, for instance, the end of, like, what was it, 1929 when that hit?
Yeah, I think you're right. Market crash.
Yeah. well, 1929, 1930. You know, that's still like, was it 90 years ago?
Yeah.
It's not quite, yeah,
We're
not
getting
quite
close
100.
to 100, right?
Yeah, like that's not necessarily all that long ago. Like
No, that's
in the
one.
span of
That's
things.
right. That's one person's lifetime, really.
Yeah,
If they were
basically.
born during the Depression,
Mhm.
there's still a chance that they could still be alive.
Exactly, and that's crazy to think about. I don't know. It's mind-boggling to me.
Yeah, 1929 was the stock market crash,
That's what I thought.
and I guess that's the Dow Jones Industrial Average just kind of it fluctuated and it went further down after that crash.
Mm-hmm.
So we haven't. I mean, it has been relatively sudden, but it's not like it was one day where it just totally tanked. It's been
That's true. It's
many
been
bad days
a
over
little bit more
several months.
gradual. Yeah.
Right. Gives us a little time to adjust.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting. You know, obviously, small businesses are hurting. Here in Lindsberg, besides my business here in Lindsberg, there's at least two or three that have closed.
I wonder how many of these small businesses have like taken advantage of like the small business like
Mm-hmm.
monies from the government, because like there are a few in town that I know of that are doing it, but because that at least will pay your employees' wages.
Yeah.
Yeah, we took that for both Fili and for the courtyard here, and at the courtyard, I mean, it helps some here, but the issues we were having weren't overcome by just paying our wages.
Right.
Right.
Well, I mean, it seemed like the last year or so, I know you've had a lot of struggles with getting a lot of foot traffic in there.
Yeah,
And
and
getting
that's
people.
been an ongoing issue. So yeah, but I think the depth of this crisis really shows that it's not just small businesses that are hurting.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's been numerous businesses in Salina closed their franchises and things. Maybe not numerous, but several. Dress Barn is officially closed. I saw that Rib Crib took down
My
their
dress barn
sign.
is closed, but how will I get my wedding dress?
So sorry, Tim.
Rib Crib closed too?
Rib Crib is closed.
Like permanently or?
Yeah, their sign is down.
I've never been
Oh,
there.
I
I
haven't
heard
either.
it was kind of
I've been
mediocre
meaning
at
to go
best.
there for 2.5 years, and I never got around to it. Now I'm really sad.
I've heard everybody just complain about it. They're like,
Yeah.
if you want barbecue, just go literally anywhere else.
Yeah, I've heard it was mediocre at best.
All right.
I mean, the one that's further down on Crawford is really, really good.
Yeah.
The barbecue place.
Oh yeah, Hickory Hill.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's
It's
like
one of
the
the best.
tops.
Yeah. It's really,
Yeah.
really good.
There's other businesses that are hurting too. Like Ford announced that they're going to lose $2 billion this month. I believe I
Wow.
can't remember if it's the month
Wow.
before.
That's crazy.
And it's all COVID-19. Boeing has a lot of issues given their planes the 737 Maxes that um, had software glitches that caused them to crash. Two
Mm-hmm.
crashed. Several hundred people died.
That's
That
nuts.
their space division is kind of in the process of losing to SpaceX.
Yeah.
Um, and obviously now the bulk of their business with commercial traffic air
Mm-hmm.
is tanking like crazy. I mean, there's
Well, I mean,
so little demand for new planes right now that
It's like none.
because there's no demand for air travel.
Right.
right, because I mean, everyone's in lockdown, but even then, like like the one thing I had that I was gonna have to travel for was that wedding, which
I was gonna ask you about that. How's that going?
so they kicked the official wedding back to September or October, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But they didn't want to have to pay for a marriage license twice, so they actually did like I guess a small ceremony with just themselves. I think
That makes sense.
their mom or
Then they'll have a big fancy show-off wedding later in life.
yeah. So technically they are married,
that.
which is good. Like I would honestly, I mean, this is just from my perspective. I do not see the need to go big. Like I know like that's like it's really more for the family than it is anything else, and or the bride who, depending on how fancy they want to go. But I maybe it's just the old curmudgeonly man inside of me. But and I'm a fairly romantic person, but I would much rather just like get a courthouse wedding. Like if I'm gonna spend thousands of dollars, I'd rather do it on something practical like a house, or something
I'd rather
like that.
use all that money and go on a honeymoon.
See, same thing. Like if I'm gonna use that much money, I'd rather just do it for something a little bit more practical, or or for a honeymoon. Yeah, exactly.
So speaking of SpaceX, like
Mhm.
everybody's been freaking out about the
Yeah.
satellites that have been flying over and whatnot. Like I didn't realize, but
Maybe
like
really quick, we
those,
can post the video or the time lapse that Tanner took,
yeah,
if that's okay, over
yeah,
this video.
yeah. We can screen share that. But I hadn't realized that there have been those clusters of satellites for a couple years now. Like, why are we just now freaking out about it? Is it just because this is the first time they've flown over, or is this like a new set? Like,
There are more than there were. They've been
right.
launching those consistently over a couple of years, I think.
Yeah, I think 2018 is the furthest back I saw video of it. But like, how come people are just now freaking out about it?
I don't
I
know.
think it's just hysteria due to like everything that's happening.
Is like everybody just like stir crazy and they're like sitting on their front porches and this is the first time we've noticed it, or what? Like, they've been there for a couple years now, so you'd think people would have seen them already.
It's gonna get a lot crazier too,
Because
because
they're putting
his
even more
ultimate
up.
goal is to
Mhm.
put, I think, 4,000 or maybe even way more than that up.
Right.
Good Lord, why so
They
many?
want to provide basically a net of internet
Yep.
access over basically the entire globe.
Yep.
That's
Yep.
Oh, okay.
So is that going to be like a free service, or is it going to be like you have to pay for it? Like,
if I had to guess, I would say it will definitely cost something,
right?
but
Only
It's
you
got to
know.
be cheaper than,
he basically can. I bet he could half the price of most of the competitors.
right. I was gonna say it's got to be way
While
cheaper.
while it's expensive to launch satellites, if you compare that to like directly
Laying all the cable and
or Cox or I mean all of their networks require constant upkeep.
right.
And with this sort of network, yes, there's upkeep, but it's
Things last forever in space.
well, okay. So interesting you should mention that because there are these guys that basically hunt for old satellites
Yeah.
that aren't really under control anymore.
Hmm.
I recently found one from the 60s
Wow.
that even lost, and it still works.
Nice. I
He's
believe it.
receiving telemetry from it, and I think he was trying to figure out if he could actually send it instructions or not. But
I believe it. Yeah, stuff doesn't deteriorate in space. So like it has to like physically be broken before it
Mhm.
like stops working really.
it deteriorates only in specific ways. For instance, like the solar wind slash just
Right.
the sun just
Mhm.
cooking thing.
Right.
It's typically like radiation kind of stuff.
Mhm.
That's one thing. Micrometeorites can blow holes and things.
Mhm.
That's
But
true.
there
Yeah.
are things that can happen.
Right. Like I said,
But
it's got to be like physically destroyed and or like baked by the sun. Like
yeah,
It just
it's a little
reminds me of.
different.
Uh, I don't know if either of you have seen it, but the original Star Trek: The Motion Picture.
Mm.
So, not to, I don't know if you'll like whether you remember it or not. It doesn't necessarily destroy the end of the movie. So they come in contact with this giant like wave or this giant thing that's basically like vaporizing things, and it's sending out signals, and they find out like it's what they call like Voyager, which is ended up being like Voyager 6, I think is what it was, like, which is the satellite that was put into space and was lost, and then like was still functional and was taken in by like this alien presence and basically given its own consciousness. It was
Mm.
basically looking for its creator.
Oh.
It's I don't know. I think the movie can be kind of slow at points, but I don't know. It's very cinematic at moments, kind of a la 2001: Space Odyssey a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Mhm.
I don't know. It just makes me think of that. Although, also speaking of Star Trek, I don't know if you saw. I think it's tonight actually. Um, Jonathan Frakes, aka Riker, is I think either hosting a party or like you can sync up and watch First Contact as he's
Oh,
talking about it and watching it. And he's the one who directed
cool.
First Contact, and that's the one with the Borg and
Mm-hmm.
so that's something tonight. I think the poster for that or whatever is on my Facebook.
He will probably be remembered as one of the people that's had the most long-lasting impact on Star Trek. You know,
Oh,
obviously
100%.
starting with Next Gen and then continuing through the two companion series, and now with
Yep.
Discovery and Picard. You know, he's had a part on all of those shows.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I believe he's directed several episodes of Discovery, and so
I believe it. I still need to get back to those. I just haven't gotten around to it yet. And not only that, like I don't know if you guys ever watched the Fact or Fiction.
Mm-mm.
I don't think so.
So that was a show that he hosted on. I think it was like Sci-Fi for a long time. That basically they would present like three stories. Thank you for the laugh. That were like two of them were supposed to be like real stories, and one of them was supposed to be one that they made up. But they're all kind of around like a central theme, and you were supposed to guess which one was real and which one wasn't, or which.
That sounds like fun.
It's a pretty good. Actually, I think it's
I've
all
played
on
that as like
Hulu
a
now.
party game before.
Yeah.
Kinda. It's
Two
either
truths
all
and a
on
lie.
Hulu or all on Amazon. It's one of those two.
Cool.
But if you guys are ready, I have a bunch of questions.
Wait, do we have that time lapse that we wanted to look at?
Oh yeah, here, let me pull that up. Yeah, so a mutual friend of Fili is Tanner Colvin, and
He went
Tanner
and
is
looked for the satellites.
Oh, did he really?
yeah, Tanner is a professional photographer, also videographer, and he's a great guy. And he stayed up last night, even though it wasn't that late. I'm gonna go ahead and get this pulled up here so I can show it. Hopefully, Tanner's okay with us showing this on our vlog.
Well, he put it on
Um,
Facebook, so
No copyright now.
right.
I am. All right. Are you seeing this?
Yep.
Yeah. There they go. Meow.
This is a little more subtle on my computer. Hopefully, you can see them.
Yeah. If you can make it smaller, if you can minimize it, you can see it a little better.
Goodness, I watched this on my phone and I could see it literally
Right.
10 times better.
Yep.
So anyway, well, we'll try to. I think there's going to be another chance to see those in the Salina area on Friday.
Yep.
So usually like 9 to 10, somewhere in there.
Gotcha.
It basically looks like one big dotted line that goes, most of the way across.
Zooming across the sky.
That's cool.
Right.
That's
It
cool.
takes like 4 minutes for it to go all the way over the.
Right.
the
And it
Yeah.
like when people started seeing it, they started freaking out. They're like, why is there like, 30 different like aerial craft of some kind following each other around, like flying in a perfectly straight line? Like, what the heck's going on?
Aliens.
Right. No, it's just satellites. And they've been up there for 2 years. How do people not
It gives
know?
you a pretty good idea of what it must have felt like back in the mid 50s when Sputnik launched, and the first time people looked up and they saw
Something
something
jetting.
moving.
Right.
The first time in the human race, besides shooting stars, that they saw something moving across the sky,
Right.
and it wasn't a plane. Obviously, it was. It must have just been really eerie, especially in the midst of the space race, and really before it was really the beginnings of the Cold War.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just kind of eerie. Okay, let's hear some questions.
Okay, so these pretty much all came to me last night as I was lying in bed.
Oh, bed
why, I don't know.
questions.
Yeah. They're actually pretty much all quarantine related.
Okay.
So, and you guys will pretty much have more answers to these than I will. But so, do you feel closer to your partner having spent so much time together during quarantine?
I would say yes. Hannah and I have gotten a lot of projects done, a lot of things that we probably would have never done.
Mm-hmm.
Um, at times, I think we've maybe bitten off more than we can chew, but we have, I think we've bonded even more since this all began.
I just came off of maternity leave, so I mean I've already spent a pretty good chunk of time at home with Barnabas, but like he's still working, so it hasn't really afforded us much more time together. Like except for like after 5 since I'm already home, so I get like maybe 15 more minutes with him before he has to go to work.
Gotcha.
But I would say that it hasn't like hurt anything. The weekends are a little better because we feel less rushed to do things because we're like we're stuck at home anyways. We can't like go shopping and run around and do 1,000 errands and have to go like have obligations on the weekend. So like actually staying home on the weekend is pretty nice. But yeah.
Has being in quarantine led to any new discoveries about yourself or your partner?
Huh. I don't know. Not really because like I said, I just came off of maternity leave, so anything I didn't know, I definitely know now because that was the entire month we were both off. So
Right. Yeah.
that was pretty nice. Now it's just trying to get enough sleep.
Yeah. It's offered lots of time to reflect and
Yeah.
think about. Um, I saw a therapist, I guess late spring last year for maybe 3 or 4 sessions, not very long, and it was mostly just I don't know. I just needed some reassurance and just some confidence going into this project, this
Mm-hmm.
feeling, and I wanted to make sure I was being true to myself and everything, and one of the things that he said during that I don't know has kind of stuck with me and I've been thinking about is that um, I guess my idea of what I should be and who I should be is kind of based on my dad, and he's a real overachiever and
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
has kind of just unlimited energy, and I in theory I would love to be as energetic as he is and have just like all of this energy with which to do stuff, but he kind of made me realize that I'm not
Right.
my dad. I'm my own person, and that I don't possess that trait. I have limited emotional and
Uh-huh.
physical. I do, and so I don't know. I guess that would be my answer is that um, like with COVID-19, it's been I've had lots of opportunity. We've done lots of things, and I'm always a little bit more aware of my limitations, which isn't a bad
True.
thing, even though it's not.
Yeah. I think for myself, I don't know if I would say there's any new habits or anything or new discoveries per se, but like um, you mentioned talking to a therapist, and I, on at least 3 or 4 separate occasions in the last few years, like twice this year actually, a couple different friends have mentioned to me that they thought perhaps it wouldn't be a bad idea for me to talk to one because I have a tendency to be overly critical of myself and overthink and get in my head. I mean, you guys like from a while back, before like right before we did the food bank, I was super in that funk and had not great thoughts. Um, and so it's something that I've begun to think a lot more about. That perhaps that it wouldn't be a bad idea to maybe talk to somebody. Uh, I'm not necessarily in a bad mindset or a bad headspace, but I just there are I have a tendency to overthink and overanalyze everything, and not enough to the point to make myself miserable,
Yeah.
which is
Makes
just never
sense.
fun.
Hannah and I have both seen therapists at one point in the last 2 or 3 years, and
Hmm.
we both. I don't think either of us really felt like we had like huge problems or anything, but there were kind of those instances where we felt like we needed help and we needed somebody
Hmm.
else to kind of just help us think through things, and it definitely helped us.
Right. It's almost like you need like a third party that's like away from everything, so you can be like, is this crazy or is it not? And they can just be like, nope, you're fine. You know, this is the deal.
And so often, at least in my limited experiences with therapists, I think they're unique in life in that they are truly an advocate and on your side. Like
Mm-hmm.
so many people, even our friends and family,
Mm-hmm.
are not like they see things through their perspective, and they,
Right.
however much they love you, they're not capable of really
Being truly
understanding your
neutral.
perspective. So
Right. Yeah.
that's where therapists can really be helpful is in seeing things through your eyes, or at least trying to, and
Mm-hmm.
encouraging you that it's okay, and that you're um, some of the decisions you're making are the right ones, and maybe some of them you need to thought a little differently, but they're very helpful.
Okay, next one, and probably the last one I've got, really. Kind of a combination question. Is there anything about being in quarantine that you'll miss? And if so, what is the thing you'll miss the most?
Probably the time that I get to spend like at home with Cadmus, because like as much as like he doesn't sleep and it's hard to also sleep around his schedule, or like it's hard to work around him being here at the same time, like at least I get to see him every day all day. Like when I go back to work, that's going to be 8 to 5 that I won't get to see him, and it'll be only Barnabas again trying to take care of him during that time. So and that's normally a time when he sleeps, so it's going to be kind of hard for him to sleep and take care of a baby and all that fun stuff, but that's probably what I'll miss the most.
For me, I will miss the flexibility of being able to work at home. Not, I prefer working at the office because home and work should be fairly separate if possible. But I like the flexibility of being here and being able to, if I roll out of bed later, I don't still have to drive somewhere, even though I don't live that far from the studio. But it's kind of nice just to be able to go into the living room and take things easy and actually be able to make breakfast here and
right.
eat that.
All you have to do is roll out of bed and put a shirt on.
Pretty much, more or less, yeah. And like the flexibility to go on a walk during the day, pretty much whenever as well.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. I mean, like, it's nice to be able to like I said, be able to sit something down and feed a baby for 5-10 minutes and then come back to whatever I was doing. That's he doesn't distract me enough from work that it makes me like not capable of continuing my work. But
for me, I think obviously just increased time at home with Hannah has been great. But I would say I think both Hannah and I would both respond with, like, our lives are so busy and we have so many things going on with our other, that that's something that's been really nice about this, is that it's been a mental break, where we have weekends free, we have evenings free largely, which is just something we're not really that used to. We're used to having 2 or 3 evening activities a week, and then often like a concert on the weekend. And so it's just, I'll miss having the freedom we have now. Really, the only time of year we usually have this amount of freedom in our schedule is like July and early August, just because that's kind of the in-between time. So yeah,
So is that
I
something
think
that you think when this is over, you'll maybe try and keep a bit of it, like maybe reduce your evening activities in the week to maybe down to 1 or 2?
possibly, yeah, I would love to. It's kind of hard. It's like giving up something we love,
right.
and but there is an element of that. There's an element of like,
Very true.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I know that on a personal level, I kind of suffer from FOMO. The
sorry, I
fear.
missed that. What?
I FOMO, the fear of missing out.
Yeah.
Things like when I was in Lawrence doing improv, I almost never missed a show, whether I was in it or not in it, because I just, with improv in particular, it's a one and done show. So whatever happens that night, you will literally never see again.
Mm-hmm.
And so like I hated missing out on stuff like that. And so like that there's an element of fear of missing out on things for myself. But I've tried to get better in the last couple of years to say no every once in a while to things, in order of like favor of just mentally, kind of bringing my mental battery and energy back up. Because like there are times like movie night with Devin and Tayton and the other guys. I love going to that, but there are nights where I just don't want to do anything.
Yeah,
And
it's true. So instead of questions, I have what are like more famously known as shower thoughts.
Okay.
So we can get your reactions to a few of them.
I think we've got about 5 minutes left.
Yep. The first one that is my favorite is, at some point, your mom sat you down and never picked you up again. Right. Yep. At some point, she sat you down and never picked you up again.
Huh. Okay, never thought about that.
That's crazy.
Okay, all right.
Next mind-shattering thought.
Okay, so is there a reason that theme parks can somehow snap a crystal clear picture of you on a roller coaster at 70 miles an hour, but for some reason bank cameras can't get a clear shot of a robber standing still?
Oh, that's perfect.
Okay, I got another one. You ready for this one? Go to bed. Right? You'll feel better in the morning. Is the human version of "Did you turn it off and back on again?"
That
is like a mantra of mine.
I've been trying turning it off and on again.
So it's like, okay, you're thinking too much. It's time to go to bed.
Right, just go to bed. You'll feel better tomorrow.
And if I'm like feeling like super depressed in the middle of the day, I will go and take a nap because like legitimately, that's the only way to get out of the funk sometimes.
Yep. Okay, so here's another one. Maybe plants are really farming us, giving us oxygen until we eventually expire and turn into mulch, which they can consume.
Interesting.
I smell the flower of the movie. Although that kind of reminds me of Attack of the Triffids.
Yep. Oh man. Instead of colorizing photos, in 50 years, we'll be removing people's filters from them.
That would be interesting.
So you can see what people like originally looked like without the filters, you know?
That is something fascinating, like the future of technology and how, like we were watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine last night. I've got Hannah into that show, like thoroughly.
It's so good.
It is. And like we look back on shows like I Love Lucy as being like an old school delightful show.
Yeah.
Like it strikes me that at some point in our lives we'll look back on shows like Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Right, and that'll be like the I Love Lucy.
You know, and it's like, what?
Okay, the very last one, and then we can sign off. We're running out of time. Okay, when a company offers me a better price after I cancel their subscription, they're just admitting that they were overcharging me.
Yes.
100
times yes.
Oh man.
How many times I've called DirecTV businesses and things, and every time I call them,
they just offer you a lower rate.
Yeah, and then and the stupidity compounds. Like I've gotten called by DirecTV, and they're like, "So we're happy to tell you that we're going to be giving you Cinemax starting next month, and it'll be lasting 3 months." say, oh, great. Thank you very much. We probably won't use it, but thanks. So what happens after the 3 months? Well, it'll be added to your account. Oh, how much is that a month? Oh, it's $75 a month.
Jesus.
It's not really that much, but
Right.
no, I'd rather not have. Oh, I'm sorry, you can't opt out of it. What if I just don't want it? And then,
Right.
so basically, they add these things to your account for free, and then
Mm-hmm.
they charge you. So you have to watch your account like a hawk to make sure they
Mm-hmm.
don't tag on things without telling you.
Okay, I lied. Okay, I lied. There's really one more, but this one has less thought to do with it.
We have less than a minute.
Somewhere in the world, there is someone with your dream job that hates going to work every day.
That is crazy to think of. We have less than a minute. We should probably sign off.
Okay. Thank you for watching once again here at Fili Create and here at Fili Daily Vlogs. Hope you're having a great week. Hope we'll see you again tomorrow. If you like this video, please hit like and subscribe below. Hit that notification bell to be notified every time we come out with a new episode. Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Bye-bye.